What works is really just keeping your targeting as broad as possible.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another episode of Commerce Untold. Today I have Krista Karpan. Krista, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are
Great, great. Krista, love the agency name, Milked Media. Tell us more about that.
we get asked about that a lot, and there's really not a whole lot to it. Unfortunately, it's not, I guess it is kind of a good story, but yeah, me and my co-founder were, thinking of starting this business, and we had to come up with a name. And I don't know, I really feel we were on some sort of cereal kick at the time. I'm not kidding. Like, I don't know. We were just really into cereal. And so we were just brainstorming names. And I honestly think it was my sister who was there who mentioned Milked Media. And we just really liked the way that it sounded. And yeah, we looked it up on, for a domain, and looked it up on for social handles, and everything was available. So we're like, all right, we're going to go with this. And then yeah, in the early days, we did lean a little bit more into the like milk theme. I like saying milk the most of your media, but we eventually
And then some cereal brands, right? Also in the mix.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird origin story, but yeah, it took us about a couple of hours. We liked the way it sounded, and we rolled with it.
Yeah, it's been quite a while, right? It's quite of a journey already.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. So, Krista, before we dive into the details, and we have plenty of things to discuss today, all things, paid media and meta, and really exciting topics about retention, email marketing. I usually ask my guests about a personal story or something they're happy to share with us that most people are not aware of. So, here is the questions to you. I'd love for you to share some unique things and some personal stories you can share with our audience.
Yeah, I guess just a little more about me. I'm currently a mom to four boys, so a lot of boy energy up in this household. So yeah, business owner and mom, doing it all. It's a wild ride, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Nice.
mean, go.
No, I mean, probably they're watching the World Cup now. I think we have like Argentina versus Egypt, right? So it's
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that game's on right now. I know.
yeah,
I've been watching. I'm obviously, American, but my ancestry is Croatian, so I was
all right.
rooting for Croatia, and that was a
Modric.
brutal
Yeah,
loss.
yeah, it's a brutal loss. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, great, Krista. Thank you for sharing. And also, I mean, you say that most brand blame targeting or the algorithm, right? I heard a lot about you, right, saying that and writing about that. Maybe some product with the algorithm, maybe some problems with the algorithms or the way messaging is being crafted. But most of your focus is around the creative, right? You say it has a major, major, major impact on success. What made you land on?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just the way that Meta has turned. I mean, it really is focused on the creative, and that is going to be how you win the ad account. Back in the day, we used to be much more granular with our targeting, leaning into a lot of interest-based targeting or lookalike audiences. That simply just doesn't work anymore. We've,
Mhm.
tried that, and it doesn't work. What works is really just keeping your targeting as broad as possible. Sometimes we'll narrow down by gender. So we'll do all female in the United States, or maybe we'll do female in an age range like 25 to 45. But that's pretty much it as far as targeting goes. We like to keep it super broad.
Like
And
open targeting is preferred for your preference.
right. And really the creatives are going to be how you are targeting your audience. Like before, we would say maybe we want them interested in engagement rings or, fashion, or maybe we're targeting moms. Now we don't do that. We keep the targeting super broad, but we let the creative and the messaging in our creative essentially tell Meta who to serve this ad to. So if the
Mhm.
messaging in the ad is geared towards a mom audience or a Gen Z audience. That's how we're tailoring the creative to essentially unlock those different customer audiences.
Yeah. So the creative is it includes probably the video, the images, whatever, in variety of different flavors within a campaign. This tells plus the messaging tells Meta who to target, right? So that's the new, I think, breakthrough, the new update, right? That this
Pretty
doesn't
much.
require that deep configuration around the audience.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes in rare cases, like for some of our clients who have more of a name in a certain area, we may see some location targeting work, but for the most part, really keeping that targeting super broad, leaning into your creative strategy is where you're going to see the better results.
Yes. And how this is translates to CAC, I mean, and CPCs, because like, I mean, Meta, I mean, yeah, they're happy for any of those to get higher and higher to some extent that it still make you profitable and worthwhile to continue the campaign, right? So obviously you see different customer acquisition cost across the funnel, right? And across the different campaigns. And how do you control this? How do you measure? What decision do you make, once you see those results?
Yeah, I mean, the key metrics that we're typically looking at are going to be our cost per acquisition as well as the return on ad spend. We're also looking at spend, like how much is the spend is the ad getting? Typically, if Meta is allocating more spend, that means it's a winning ad, it's getting more traction. And subsequently, we also look at, purchase volume. We keep an eye on CPM as well as frequency to look at, creative fatigue. So yeah, those are kind of the key metrics we're looking at. But yeah, really how we're, controlling that, it really just does all come back to the creative strategy. And in the beginning, when we're working on a new account, it does go heavy into the testing to find really what creative is going to resonate with their audience. But once we kind of get those initial learnings, we're able to really kind of double down on what works and create iterations off of those top performers to essentially scale the account.
So there are no any like data you can use maybe from similar competitive companies or similar companies in the niche. I mean, you just go ahead and test variety of things and see what works. That's the methodology.
Yeah, I mean, because we work with clients in similar industries, we definitely have a good idea of kind of what works within the fashion industry, what works within jewelry, what works within beauty. It definitely is a different strategy. So that gives us a good starting point of okay, UGC creatives are typically going to resonate much stronger with a beauty brand. It's almost actually 100% necessary to have that in the mix. So we have a good idea of what works and kind of where to start. But I will say, even brands that you think are, similar might be able to share a similar strategy. Once you start testing, you will find some kind of unique outliers of what works specifically within their account. So it's always important to leverage, the data of historical performance, leverage what works within those industries, but always test at first because it is going to be slightly different from brand to brand.
Yeah. And Krista, when you're referring to creative, you also includes the messaging, right? It's also
Yeah, for
very
sure.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say like for our jewelry and fashion too, the messaging is important, but it's not as important. I mean, you're essentially shopping a catalog for a lot of those. We see like
Hmm.
dynamic product ads work really well because the jewelry is like it's a sparkly piece of jewelry. It kind of can sell itself if you like it, if you see it and you like it, there you
Hmm.
go. But in beauty, yeah, or even home, the messaging is really important to test what really resonates with their audience or hitting on specific pain points or what is going to get them to move.
Yes. Yes. And what are some of the insights that you can share with us in terms of creatives that are better, working better, like in the jewelry, and the fashion, the beauty, some of those categories that you're active at?
Yeah, it's funny because, obviously video is, you hear a lot about video and video creatives. And, yes, we do a lot of different types of video creative, but we recently just like kind of looked at creatives across all of our clients' accounts. And the funny thing is the static image still a top performer in a lot of our clients' accounts. So
Really?
I would
Wow.
say, don't sleep on the static image. It can definitely work. We see that work really well in our fashion clients' accounts. And yeah, we'll play with very simple messaging like featuring the brand name or featuring the brand name plus new arrivals, what is
Hmm.
going to perform better. But it's a pretty simple strategy there. And then obviously Meta is pushing very hard right now partnership ads so that, human crafted content, the UGC, we see work almost across all accounts now. I feel probably just 6 months ago, we would say, you really have to have this if you're a beauty brand. But now, the way that Meta is pushing with the new Andromeda algorithm, it really does favor partnership ads and UGC. So we are, encouraging all of our clients to have UGC as part of the creative mix.
Yes, yes, and that was announced, I think, last Shop Talk, or and this is already available within the Meta environment, like kind of a marketplace where you can find and source those creators, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
we have a
you
handful we work with, but we haven't really gotten into that. But yes, they have really gone all in on building out
yes,
that creative
they're
marketplace and making it easier.
trying to build something similar to TikTok Shop on that sense, right? Just to having the ability to reach out to affiliates and to create some partnerships. And then the ads goes like a whitelist, right? So you whitelist the ad through the UGC or through the creators itself.
Right. And so Meta has a, kind of dynamic function to where you can run the ad one of three ways, and we'll typically allow Meta to make that decision. So you can choose for Meta to run the ad from the brand name, from the creator's name, or from both of their names. If you've seen that
Hmm.
on Instagram where it says the brand
Yes,
name and the creator name. So we give Meta
nice.
leeway there. We say you decide which is going to, give the highest conversion based on the individual.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. So how do you know, I mean, when you audit an account or when you're launching a campaign, how do you know that it's a creative issue or it's maybe a targeting issue or some other, I don't know, pricing issues? I mean, it's more complex than just the creative messaging and right?
Yeah,
How
I
do you
think it's
figure out?
I think it's pretty obvious when you're first looking at an account if it's like a campaign structural or audience issue, that's
Hmm.
going to stand out pretty much immediately. Like you're not following best practices here. So we can spot that pretty quickly. And that's a pretty low hanging fruit. If it's a simple, account restructuring, if they have too much going on, if they're spreading their budget too thin across too many campaigns, strong believer in account consolidation, less is more with the campaigns. So that one, typically stands out pretty easily. From there, looking at the creative, we can also tend to see, based on historical data, where they have received some traction, what they've tested, what has worked and what hasn't. And that kind of can guide our initial creative strategy there. I would say offer or pricing or product market fit are a harder tell, and those kind of come over
Yeah.
time once you've been able to dig into the account, if you've restructured the campaigns, if you're testing creatives and you're like, okay, this still isn't working. This is a deeper problem. We have to take a look at the product. But another thing I'll say, which we can identify too, is if there's an issue with the site, if there's an issue with the landing page of where they're driving traffic to. If we're seeing strong engagement with an ad, we're seeing strong click through rate, we're seeing strong video engagement, but then the conversion rate is low. All right, there's something off with your site, or simply just the landing page that we're directing them to. Let's try directing to the homepage versus the product page, or vice versa.
Yeah. And in your scope of services that you usually provide, that CRO focus, we talked before about influencers and another right, type of service. Where are you in terms of this scope of work? What are the services that you provide as part of your engagements?
Yeah, so we do everything within Meta Ads, Google Ads. We handle everything there. Something we do for all of our clients. We are not web developers, so we don't handle anything on site, but we will do a website audit for all of our new clients. It's very important. We're a small piece of the puzzle. If we're recommending you're spending all this money to drive traffic to your site, we want to make sure that site is set up for conversion. So we'll take a look
Yes.
at your homepage, your product page, your collection page, and just make some recommendations there to help drive more conversions.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And in terms of like if it's a new launch, whether an existing brand with a new product line or a new brand that you're launching right now, is how do you structure the ads? I mean, because some of them are targeting more brand awareness, top of funnel, let's say. Some of them are targeting, bottom of funnel with conversions. How do you usually, craft a strategy for new launch?
Yeah, most of our clients, partnering with us, their goal is online sales. It is to increase those online sales. So
Hmm.
by default, the majority of our clients' accounts are going to be have the objective of sales. All the campaigns are set up with the sales objective. We may do a small portion of budget to a traffic campaign. For that, we always optimize that campaign for landing page views instead of just link clicks. We have seen it time and time again with a traffic campaign. It ends up driving trash traffic to the site, and then it ends up affecting our conversion rates. So, conversely, with our sales campaigns where we will target super broad, if we are going to run a traffic campaign, we do try to make that targeting a little bit more focused, and we'll typically do a 1% lookalike of existing purchasers. We
Hmm.
found keeping that super broad or optimizing for link clicks drives a lot of unqualified traffic. So we try to tighten that up a little bit, do the 1% lookalike, optimize for landing page views. So people who are more likely to actually spend time on the site. And we find that that helps to drive more quality traffic. But yeah, for the most part, we are optimizing all of the campaigns for a sales objective. It wouldn't be until a client is spending a significant amount that we would actually recommend doing more brand awareness campaigns. Honestly, when you are, starting out, when you have, bottom line goals to meet, you really want to structure your account for the result that you want, which is
Hmm.
those online sales. Find the people most likely to convert.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very, very important, obviously. And yeah, I love that you share that because we know that I mean, there are a lot of things needs to be in place and set up correctly for this campaign to work, right? We talked about the website, conversion optimization, but I hear a lot about the need to create to write some organic content like blogs and maybe create some organic content on the social accounts as well. Obviously, setting up the right customer journeys and email marketing and all those Klaviyo workflows. Tell us more about what's important beyond a professional, let's say, meta ad campaign.
For sure. And again, meta ads are a piece of the puzzle. They are not the full
Hmm.
solution. So
Hmm.
our clients who come to us and aren't really doing anything else, any forms of marketing, and they're looking for the meta ads to be the silver bullet, it's just not. It's part of the overall ecosystem. There needs to be other things in place. So yes, as you mentioned, obviously your organic search is going to play a part in that. Having your site, SEO optimized is going to help with that organic. Organic social is a big one. And in fact, when we do start a new client, in addition to the website audit, we also do an audit of their Facebook and Instagram accounts. A lot of times, when someone sees an ad and they don't recognize the brand, they may not click to the website. They're like, who is this? They're going to click to their social profile. So you want to make sure that your social profile is acting as a good landing page. It clearly states exactly what you sell, who you're for, and also, that you're active, that you're active on there, that it shows you are a legitimate brand. So we'll
Yes.
make certain recommendations there from organic. And then, yes, it does help to have some sort of influencer strategy in place. Influencers are really good at getting the word out there. They're really good with the reach component. Obviously, they help with sales, but having some sort of influencer engagement in place helps to also drive traffic to the site. And then we have our ads in place to help convert that traffic and bring them back to the site. And then of course our other main service, which is a big part, would be the email marketing. There are some products where they may be impulse buys and someone may buy the first time with clicking an ad, but most times they don't. And we work with a lot of higher end items, high AOV items in the fine jewelry space or luxury space. They're most certainly not going to buy a $5,000 ring on one click. So really the ads are what is introducing them.
Discovery.
Email
Yeah.
is going to nurture them into that purchase over time.
And how do you find their email? Maybe let's say they are converted to the PDP, and then there is some kind of a pop-up with some incentive, and then you get their emails and you move from there.
Yeah, for sure. So that's kind of the basics of what we recommend is definitely making sure that you have optimized sign up units in place with signups optimized for both desktop and mobile. And then we always recommend an exit intent form to help capture users who are about to exit the page.
Yes.
That you definitely want to have dialed in. That there's a lot of things you can test with the sign up units, but I do think one of the biggest ones is going to be the offer. Consumers typically aren't going to give up their email address for free. They're expecting something in return. So playing with different offers there
Discounts,
can drive
coupon, vouchers.
conversion.
Yeah. What would be an ideal, like, realistic conversion rate, let's say, from clicking on an ad, landing on a PDP or a landing page, add to cart, checkout? What are the ratios that you see right now working in the industry?
Yeah, let's see. I can look up our 2026 aggregate performance across all of our clients' accounts. So yeah, on average on Meta, we see about a 4% conversion rate. Google is about a 4.8 conversion rate. Google's definitely a little bit more bottom of funnel,
Yeah,
where Meta is a little bit more top of funnel. But yeah, that's typically what we're seeing.
got it. Yeah, great. So, Krista, you also won a Performance Campaign of the Year, right?
We did.
Wow, tell us more about that.
Well, that was pretty exciting. I saw it come through on Meta. I think last year was their first agency awards, which I actually didn't know that. And we submitted in true fashion right on the deadline. We're like, all right, we have to get this submitted this week. We submitted it for our client Heretic. They did a collaboration with their perfume brand. They did a collaboration with the film Nosferatu. So it was really eye-catching, creative. It was really great. And honestly, that campaign really transformed their business, and really they just saw amazing results on Meta. So we submitted that because it was great work, and then we found out we won, and we're like, this is awesome. So
What's so special about that ad? I mean, it was the
it's
creative, the conversions. What was the target of this one?
I mean, it's definitely the creative really is what sold this. The film Nosferatu, it's definitely, it's creepy, scary vampire. So we leaned into that with the creative, and they tend to have kind of a more, gothic or alternative audience. And I think the creative along with the film just really resonated with that audience, and Meta's algorithm saw that, and it was able to really effectively scale those ads to that audience, and we just saw really strong results. But it all came back to the creative. That really is what
Nice.
sold the success of the campaign.
Wow, this is great. Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I want to talk to you about attribution, right? So for founders out there or for CMOs or brand leaders out there, how do they need to assess, the KPIs, or what are the major KPIs, or how they can assess, is the sales volume are okay or they're not okay? Are they lagging? Something is not working or not working? How do you recommend for people who are not expert, right, in setting up those campaigns, probably on the other side on the brain side? What do you suggest and how do you recommend them to analyze success of campaigns?
Attribution, that is always the fun one because basically every campaign is, or every platform is going to try to take credit for the sale. So if
Sure.
I click on a meta ad and then I, leave the site and then I'm served a Google ad and then I click on that and then I sign up for email and then I get an email a day later and then I click on that and then I purchase through the email within a 7-day period,
Yeah.
all three of those platforms are going to take credit for the
Yeah.
sale. So next thing I know, I have Meta reporting this number, Google reporting this number, and Klaviyo reporting this number, and it's inflated because they're all taking credit for the sale. Do I think they should all get credit for the sale because they all played a part in the transaction? I do. However, it's trying to kind of decipher where that traction is actually coming from. So there's a couple of things you can do. One, something we do for our clients is we will do an attribution overlap analysis. So we will take a look at all the platforms that they are on, what the reported platform revenue is compared to what their actual revenue is, to find out how much overlap there is. On average on our clients, we see about like a 16% attribution overlap. So that's just a number to take into consideration. This is what the platforms are reporting, but it's probably, about 16% less than that based on the overlap. That's a little bit more of a, you know, in-depth analysis, and if you don't want to do that calculation. The easiest way I think to look at attribution is looking at your marketing efficiency ratio. So this is taking your total spend divided by your total revenue. So how much are we spending and how much are we making? It completely takes attribution out of the equation. It just
Yes.
says we're spending $20,000 on ads and our store made 100,000. So we have a marketing efficiency ratio of 5 times. So that's really what the best way and easiest way to really take out all the platform reported numbers, which they all report on different attribution windows. And then B, it's always going to over report.
Yes.
My last suggestion, if you really want to really understand, would be investing in a third party software that has more of that first party attribution, like a Triple Whale, Northbeam, Polar Analytics.
Yes.
That is going to give you more of that granular insight. If the MER isn't telling the full story for you, you really have to just invest in one of those platforms to be able to more effectively dissect the data.
Yes, yes. And this is definitely the right way to go, right? When you're matured enough and you have enough data, right, to be able to analyze that.
For
Great.
sure.
So, Krishna, tell us more about your agency, Milk Media. I mean, what exactly, where you are in your journey, what type of customers you're looking for with your ideal ICP?
Yeah, so we have been at this for almost 10 years now. And yeah, when we first started Multimedia, we did a little bit of everything for everyone. Did organic social, we did influencer, we did branding, and we would work with all different kinds of clients, even local based. And then it was about 2020 happenstance that we decided to focus on e-commerce and the specific industries of fashion, jewelry, beauty, and home. Just so happens that's when COVID happened, the world shut down and everybody was shopping online. So that really kind of catapulted our business into what it is today. So yeah, today, we really like to work with e-commerce brands. We will work with any e-commerce brands, but our expertise is again within those specific industries. We have worked with countless jewelry, fashion, home, beauty brands. We know these industries inside and out, and I think that's what gives us a little bit of an edge there. But we work with a lot of female founded brands and businesses. But yeah, typically we are looking for e-commerce brands in that space, making at least $30,000 to $40,000 a month in revenue in order for the ad spend to make sense.
Yes. Any preference for the ad budget or like a minimum or?
We have found, like a $10,000 investment is really, really the sweet spot.
Yeah,
However, our minimum recommendation, if you're doing this yourself or if you're just starting out or you're dipping your toes in the water, is always going to be $150 a day on Meta and $100 a day on Google. So it's about $7,500 if you're going to be on both platforms. That is our recommended minimum. Like I
yeah,
said, we're targeting everybody. You want your ads to be effective, you have to put some spend behind that.
sure.
But as we scale up a little bit, fuel the fire a little bit more, getting closer to that 10,000, that's kind of the sweet spot of where the ads start to become more effective.
Great, great. And where people can find you?
You can find me on the site. So that's www.milkedmedia.com.
Great. Krista, it was a pleasure. We learned a lot. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered the most of it there. I feel like we got some good insights on Meta, the whole marketing funnel, how Meta or how ads and email really work together. So yeah, we covered a lot.
Great. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best. We didn't talk about Q4, which is actually coming. When we talked prior to the hit
We
recording,
forgot about Q4. I
yeah,
know
you mentioned that it's Q4 already. My God.
it is July, but we're already thinking Q4, and you should be too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is heads up. Q4. This is planning time. Get ready
It is.
now. Wonderful. That was a great summary for this chat. Thank you so much, Krista. All the best.
Thank you.